So here are a few exercises that you can do in addition to deadlifts, in addition to squats, that will certainly help develop hip extensors, hamstrings, glutes in particular, but also help practice the movement for the hip hinge in and of itself. So I'm going to let this roll out and we'll see. First, we have glute bridge on a bench. All right, this is a fantastic exercise, and if you pay attention to how I'm set up here, you'll notice that I've got my knee directly over my heel, and that's important because when these glutes are engaged and I thrust my hips upward, okay, equal and opposite is going to be the weight distributed from my knee down to my heel, and that's going to make sure that my knees are happy. It's also going to make sure that my glutes get a complete contraction. What you'll notice when I do this as well is that there is no ballistic movement. There is no pop at the top. On my way down, I'm trying to focus on feeling my glutes lengthen. That's a little bit of a challenge to make that connection, but I still make it nonetheless. And feeling my weight build in my heels as I begin to raise my hips up off of the ground will incidentally cause my glutes to be the prime mover, but also force my glutes to have a peak contraction at the top. And I do it as well with the barbell because what I want to demonstrate here is that there is no pop at the top. There's no acceleration of that weight where then my hips have to catch it in order to stabilize it at the top. It's slow, it's controlled. I feel my glutes engage from the very bottom. I feel the peak contraction at the very top. And that just makes it an overall effective and extremely safe exercise. Okay, following exercise. Hip hinges with a band. Okay, I love this exercise. All right, and what we want to focus on here are a few things. First and foremost, we want to make sure that my back stays neutral. Okay, so there's a tremendous amount of effort here for me to keep my shoulders back. Okay, natural curvature of the spine. I feel a wicked stretch in my hamstrings for this movement, and that's really what we want. And then additionally, we want to make sure that we keep the chin down. All right, we want to have a neutral curvature in our thoracic spine. And again, there's no pop at the top. I push my hips back. I make sure that I feel my weight on my heels. That allows me to get a good stretch out of the hamstrings and keep a good stretch in the hamstrings as I drive my hips forward, and again, get that same sensation, that same contraction out of my glutes that I did with the glute bridge. Okay, also a hip hinge exercise. All right, next, kettlebell squats. Now, I like this exercise because it's a squat movement. It helps me practice the hip hinge, but it also helps me practice keeping form at the bottom of the movement. So what you'll see as I place that kettlebell behind me, there I miss it. I didn't place it back far enough, but you'll see me correct that on the next movement, right? I put it back nice and far. And what I'm trying to maintain here is I'm trying to maintain the weight on my heels. I'm trying to maintain neutral curvature of the spine. Here my cervical spine is out of whack. You can certainly see that. I'll work on it. But nonetheless, chest up. I feel my arms slide on the inside of my thighs until I touch the handle for the kettlebell. I drive my hips forward, same glute squeeze, same hamstring stretch. Tremendous emphasis on my thoracic spine, keeping my shoulders back and my spine neutral. Lost my balance. That's how you know you're doing it right in a lot of cases, is if you've got your weight so far back that you're challenging your ability to balance while you're balancing on your heels. Every once in a while, that's not a bad thing. Good squeeze. And then right back down. Next exercise. Kettlebell hinges, kettlebell hip thrust. Okay, here you can see the pop. Here there is a ballistic movement. My arms are acting simply as hooks, and that kettlebell is working simply as a pendulum as it swings down. Okay, I'm not raising this with my shoulders at all. Okay, you don't want your shoulders to do much work with this exercise. The height that that kettlebell is achieving is simply because of the thrust that I'm creating in my hips. And what we can see for the first few, there's a pop, there's a pop, there's a pop. Now, when you feel that pop, I want you to think of that as being a little bit too much slack in the rope. And when you end up tugging on that rope and there's slack in it, there ends up becoming a snap. And that's what you see for the first few repetitions of this exercise. Ideally, there shouldn't be the snap. Those tensions and that force should be inherent in the movement, but you can see as I start to settle into the movement, it's all there. Trust me, it's all there. But that's a matter of control, not a matter of being out of form. Bulgarian split squat. Single leg exercise, front leg loaded exercise. That back leg really doesn't do much for the strength. It certainly does help for balance, and it is a functional stretch in that quad, in my right quad for this movement. We'll go back to that. Okay, and the setup for this exercise, you're gonna hear me, I'm like a broken record. Okay, setup for this exercise is you wanna make sure that your foot is a certain distance away from the bench, so that way when you're in the down position, again, that knee is directly over the heel. All right, we want to keep the shoulders stacked over our hips. We really don't want to lean forward too much with this particular exercise. We want to make sure that we practice proper core control and we're able to maintain neutral spine alignment. It's critical. All right, we'll let it roll. And you'll see full contraction, knees locked, hips locked, quad is fully engaged, glute is fully engaged. Back is nice and straight, neutral spine. So there you have it. Those are a handful of exercises that you can do to practice the hip hinge, integral part of deadlifts, integral part of many other exercises, some of which I included here. But it also certainly helps us develop strength, rate of force production, stability, and functional movement patterns as it relates to a lot of the heavier lifts are baked into these exercises. So give them a shot. As always, I'm interested to know what you think of them, how you feel when you do them, if you have any questions, if there's any issues that you have, and any way that I can help in assisting you achieve proper form and proper execution. So good luck. Let me know.